Hi, welcome to a Homespun house. My name is Molly, and I am here to chat with you today about all of the fun things that I have been knitting over the last little while. We have been spending the last almost month and a half at our summer bungalow. The girls are currently in their summer holidays from school, and here in Germany, we have 6 weeks of summer holidays. So it's been really, really wonderful tending to the garden, going for walks, enjoying tasty food and drinks, and lots of time at the water. I've really, really enjoyed that. I think all of us have enjoyed all of the sun and just swimming that we've been able to do. And while I've been relaxing and spending a lot of time at the bungalow, I've been spending most of my mornings doing quite a bit of knitting. So I'm going to share with you some of the things that I have been knitting on these past few weeks. When I mentioned that I spend my morning knitting, I really spend my mornings knitting. So here's my stack of finished socks that I have knit on this past, I don't know how long it's been, month, 2 months. And I have 2 pair on my needles as well. Let's begin in no particular order with all of the socks that I've been knitting. This is a pair of socks that I knit from a Patreon sock set. I don't remember which month, but I thought it would be really fun to come up with a concept of using one 20-gram mini for the first, I think I did 10 rounds of my stockinette stitch, just plain stockinette stitch sock. So I did 10 rounds below the cuff. I did the heel, and this is our sunny side up colorway. And then I did 10 rounds before the toe decreases in our sunny side up colorway as well. And then I chose 2 contrasting colors for the cuff and the toe. And I really love this concept. So when you're a member of our Patreon community, you have a choice of 3 mini skeins or 3 mini skeins and a sock set. And so here I decided to incorporate the sock set, which was this colorway here, which I used for the main sock. And then I used Sunny Side Up, which was the mini that came along with the sock set. And then I used 2 of the mini skeins that came along with, I think it was that month. It might have been a month before what the mini skeins were from, but I really enjoyed knitting on this sock, and it was quite a bit of an experiment because I personally have never seen a sock knit this way, and I really love the way that it turned out. So much so that I decided to use the next months of Patreon minis to knit the sock the same way. So I used the full skein along with its mini for the sock, and then I used 2 of the 3 minis for the rest of it. And I just think this looks so pretty. Such a fun sock to knit, and they're both really different. Really different and very fun. And I've only knit 2 socks in that particular manner. I did a knit 1 purl 1 for the cuff here, and I did a knit 2 purl 2 for the cuff on this particular sock. I am a size 39-40, more on the 40 side depending upon the shoe brand. And in order to use a 50-gram skein of yarn, so a 70-gram sock set, that's a 50-gram skein with a 20-gram mini, I definitely need to use the mini for the cuff, heel, and toe if I'm going to, if I want some sort of a leg. I only do a 35 round leg. I'm a very, very loose knitter. I use size 2mm needles, and I do a 60 stitch count for my socks. So the next 2 pair that I have are from our Happy Birthday Hogwarts yarn club. It's a really fun year-round yarn club that we are doing at a Homespun house. And every month we feature 1, 2, maybe 3 birthdays from some of the people I really enjoy from the Harry Potter book series. And the last 2 ones that we have, which are now closed, our Happy Birthday Neville. This one was so much fun to choose the colors for, and it was a lot of fun to knit up. Most of these yarns in the Yarn Club are highly speckled, and they have a pretty even speckle. They shouldn't do any pooling. I hope they don't pool for you. I haven't had one pool yet. So I'm doing all of my sock in the Happy Birthday Hogwarts color because I'm enjoying knitting with it so much, and it's really fun to have a plain stockinette stitch sock with no color changes, 2 ends to weave in, one here at the top and then one down at the toe. And yeah, really been enjoying it. 2mm needle and 60 stitches again on both of these. I did a knit 2, purl 2, cuff. I am not following any pattern, but I do know that Kay Litton has a wonderful fingering weight, DK weight sock pattern if you're looking for something to follow. I've just been knitting since I was a little girl. My grandma Sue taught me how to knit, and because I've knit so many hundreds of pairs of socks, they're kind of, I wouldn't say like breathing, that's way too much of an exaggeration, but it just comes very simply and effortlessly, especially something like this. So I'm enjoying these. This is Happy Birthday Neville long bottom. And then we have Happy Birthday Harry. I love that they're so different. And I think they both emulate each of the characters so well. So last week, Robert dyed up Happy Birthday Albus Dumbledore. That one I've just taken out of the shop. Now, at this very moment, he is dyeing up Happy Birthday Ginny Weasley. And it's very exciting because for those of you who are our patrons, you'll all know that Robert's been dyeing up all of these Happy Birthday Hogwarts colorways, and they're amazing. He is an amazingly meticulous speckle extraordinaire. He is so good at evenly distributing the speckles. I tell him over and over how impressed I am by his just the even way that he dyes. He's so good. And so this is his club. I choose all of the colors. I speckle the first pan of yarn to show him how I want it to go, and then he does the rest. And the way that he dyes this club colorway is phenomenal. So I'm so happy with it. Dumbledore's turned out beautifully, and I can't wait to see Ginny's tomorrow when he washes it and hangs it. And I'll probably cast on Dumbledore's soon. So the next pair of socks that I finished was also a fun little pattern experiment. This is actually this month, so July's Patreon Yarn Club yarn for the sock set. And I decided to do a knit 1, purl 1 cuff. Isn't this color so much fun? And then I decided to do some garter rows here. Just a normal stockinette toe. And then I did some more garter rows at the foot. And just again, a standard toe. So while I was knitting this, I wanted something different. I wanted a texture. I wanted something that I didn't really have to think about, but I still wanted it to be with a little bit of interest, and that's exactly what this does. Once I started knitting the texture on the top of the leg, I thought, I think I really need to put this on the toe, but again, it's a texture. Is it going to be very uncomfortable on the bottom of my foot? So I knit the first one, I put it on my foot, I walked around with it for a little while, and it didn't bother me at all. I didn't even realize it. And I think that's one of the cool things about certain textures, and especially with such finely knit yarn at such a fine gauge, is you don't even notice it. So I really love this pair of socks. And in fact, I love it so much that we are dyeing up. Well, I'm dyeing up. I'm the one who dyes all the yarn, always have been, other than the Hogwarts Yarn Club. So that's kind of Robert's thing that he dyes. It's still my absolute baby, but he dyes the yarn for that. So after I finished these socks, I thought I really want to do this pattern again. So I'm dyeing up some Halloween autumnal yarn, and this is a sock set that I came up with. Isn't it so much fun? It's going to be in the shop soon. And I'm actually knitting this up on DK weight yarn. So it will be really interesting to see how this texture plays in a DK weight yarn. I did it a little bit differently on this sock, as it is a thicker yarn. It's DK weight. I'm using a 3mm needle. I probably could even go down a size, 2.5. That might sound a little crazy to some of you who use 2.5 for socks on fingering weight yarn. But anyway, this is one of the autumnal Halloween sock sets that will be in the shop soon. Like I said, I'm doing it on DK weight, and I started to do the texture on the toe. I'm so curious how this is going to wear, if it will be uncomfortable as I'm walking around, but I don't wear DK weight socks inside of shoes. I don't think I ever have. So these will be more of winter house socks, but inside of my house shoes. So I think I'll knit the first one, try it on again and see how I feel about it. I'm definitely going to continue. I can't see that it will bother me, but I'm almost finished with the first one. And I'm going to do the toe in this same gorgeous Flida kind of lilac colorway. I think it's so pretty, and it's so much fun to knit. The second pair of socks that I'm working on is also another one of our autumnal Halloween colorways. I'm using our merino cashmere nylon for this. I, in the past, knit quite a few socks using our merino cashmere nylon base, and then I just stopped. I started knitting everything in our soft sock base, sometimes in our plump merino, but I really started knitting a lot of socks in our soft sock base, and which is a 4-ply yarn. And then Chelsea or Sue from Legacy Fiber Arts started talking about how much they love their socks in merino cashmere nylon. And I gifted Renata, my husband Robert's mom, a pair of socks in our merino cashmere nylon base, and they're her favorite. She loves them. She talks about them all the time in the evenings in the summer. Her bungalow is near ours, so I see her every day, and she wears these socks a lot in the evenings. She speaks about how much she loves them and how much for Christmas this year she wants another pair. So that kind of brought it to the forefront of my mind that I want to knit more merino cashmere nylon socks. So I decided to cast on this colorway using merino cashmere nylon. Now both of these colorways aren't named yet, this one and then the Halloween one that I'm using to knit the other pair of socks with, but I'm enjoying it so much. It is so much fun knitting on something that's so autumnal, so deep, dark, kind of spooky, cozy. Not that I'm craving that yet. I'm still really enjoying the summer, but I don't know, it brings kind of a sort of excitement, just also for the shop, but then also to my knitting. So I finished the first one. Guess I could have shared that first. I finished the first sock, and I'm not using a pattern for these. I looked at some different textures and things and just kind of put this together. And these are a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying knitting an extra cozy, comfy pair of socks using our merino cashmere nylon. I am knitting with another project, our merino cashmere nylon, and it's actually some scraps that I have from leftover projects. I don't even remember what these are left over from. Well, I know this is from a sweater that I knit my youngest daughter, a colorwork, 2 colorwork sweater. And then this one, this is our gumdrop colorway, and this is Double Dare. And I thought they would look really fun in an Oslo hat by Petite Knit. I've knit, I think 4 of these. I know I've knit 4, but it's possible I've knit 5. And it is such a fun knit. I got a little burnt out for a short period of time on knitting socks, and that's when I cast this on. I think it was after I finished this first sock. And so I cast on an Oslo hat. I really love this. It is such a professional looking hat. It looks store-bought, but while also being just very put together. Here are the colors marled. I think they look so gorgeous. I have some fun little needle stoppers on there. Do any of you guys love needle stoppers on your needles? They help so much from preventing anything falling off. I have them on, well, most of the projects that I've been working on that allow for a needle stopper. So I'm at the decreases of the hat. I need to change to double pointed needles now actually, but this was a perfect use for these scraps. I think I'll pretty much use all of Gumdrop and merino cashmere nylon cap. It couldn't be more perfect. So the other 4 hats that I know I've knit of Oslo hats, I used different yarn. I used our non-superwash fingering weight. So you hold 2 fingering weights double for this hat. It creates a really nice texture, and obviously depending upon the yarn that you use, it's a very different drape. So I am curious how the MCN yarn will differ to the non-superwash fingering, because non-superwash really repels any sort of water, and I want this to be a functional hat for me. I don't have an Oslo hat yet. Adody has my old one, and so I needed a new one, and so of course I chose a pink one. The next project that I am working on is kind of all over the place because this is called Sweater Number 18. It is by the knitwear designer My Favorite Things Knitwear. The pattern is actually called Sweater Number 18. And like I said, the designer is My Favorite Things Knitwear. So I knit this up using a yarn that I offered in a yarn club. Gosh, I don't even know. 8 years ago, maybe, when we were living in Berlin. And this is a local wool. I'm living in Germany, and it is a local wool to us. It is from a sheep breed called Fuchsschaf. So it's Fuchswolle, fox wool, but it does come from a sheep. It's not coming from a fox. And it is definitely more on the rustic side when compared to luxury hand-dyed blends of yarn. But I really love this base. I've knit a ranunculus out of this base before. I dyed it up in our seafoam colorway, and I've dyed this up in our Scandinavia colorway. I don't have any Scandinavia nearby, but Scandinavia is actually a really light, soft, again, kind of like a lilac, periwinkle blue. However, because the Fuchswolle is a little bit, I would say it has red tones. It also has some soft beige, sandy tones to it. It definitely alters the color of the sweater. So I am using an Aran weight yarn. It's what the pattern calls for. My sweater is humongous. It is twice the size of me. If I fold this in half, it is twice the size that I am. So it is very, very large. However, I do know that this is a drop sleeve sweater. And so I think that it's very possible that when I finish it, I love the oversized way that it will fit. I don't often like oversized anything. I wear quite tailored clothing in general. But the ranunculus sweater that I have knit out of this colorway, I use in the garden. I use it when we're at our bungalow in the evenings or in the fall/winter when I'm working outside and I don't want to be wearing a jacket, but I want something warm and cozy that I can move around in, that repels water great. And like I said, I love my ranunculus, but I really messed up the short rows in the front and the back, and it looks very sloppy, and it's not the most wonderful looking garment because of the way that I personally knit it. And so I thought I would love to try something new, and I think this pattern is absolutely beautiful. So I think it would have been nicer knit up in a drapey, more luxury yarn, I guess. But I don't know. I'll have to see when it's finished, when it's blocked, and maybe it's something that I will love. So I am currently knitting my last round of knit one, purl one for the bottom of the sweater, and then I'm going to soak it and block it and see how I feel about the drape. The problem is I only dyed up 5 skeins of this yarn. I don't know what world I was living on where I thought that I would need 5 skeins of Aran weight yarn for an oversized sweater. I honestly have no idea what was going through my mind when I dyed up 5 skeins. It is not going to be enough. I think in the end I will need 2 more skeins. But Scandinavia is such a fiddly colorway that I am really crossing my fingers that I get something close to matching this color. This is all of the yarn that I have left. And no way is it enough for 2 sleeves. There is no way. But this is a very fun knit. I definitely recommend it. And I can't wait to see how it blocks out. I think it will lengthen quite a bit. And I'm looking forward to hopefully being able to wear it and loving the way that it's so oversized. And you know what? It's very possible it won't be as oversized as I think, because I think sweaters often look a lot larger than they actually are. The final project that I have been working on over these last weeks is the Grandma Core hood. It is a pattern by Kutova Kika or Veronica Lindebag, and it is such a fun pattern. I came across this pattern because my employee really wanted to find some sort of a hood to wear in the fall or winter, and she's just started relearning to knit this past year since she started working for me. And I found this pattern. I fell in love with this pattern and decided that I wanted to knit one for myself. So I am using our non-superwash DK and lace mohair, exactly as the pattern calls for. This is a non-superwash here that I'm using for this pattern. And it is such a fun pattern. It's pretty much all pure lace. And right now it kind of looks like a hilarious little baby hood. like a little baby bonnet, I guess you could say. But this is the back, and it's oversized. It's kind of like an oversized hood. It hangs around your neck like a cowl, and you can pull it over your head if you want when you're cold with a little drawstring. So it probably looks so silly and ridiculous, but I think this will be really fun to wear, and I have no idea how much I'm going to love it. I've never knit anything like this before. It could just be ridiculous, or it might be one of my favorite things that I've knit, and I might just knit them all for everyone. It's a lot of variety, and that's been keeping me really interested lately. I've also been knitting on my blankets. My Cozy Memories blanket here, I've knit a lot of squares into it. So I've been working on those in the evenings, but not too much. My Cozy Comfort Throw is the one that I've been working on the most in the evenings when it's colder and I head to bed a little bit earlier. So we have one more week left of summer holidays. We're in it. This is the week. And we will definitely be spending it at our bungalow. It's going to be a warm weekend, which I am welcoming. I am so happy to be able to spend this last hurrah weekend with the girls and Robert and some of our friends at our bungalow at the water. That is where I plan on spending all of my time. A little bit in the garden here and there, but it's almost too warm to be working in the garden. It is too warm to be working in the garden, except for maybe some mornings here and there while I'm drinking my coffee and get distracted by weed pulling, which does happen. But I definitely will be spending my time down at the water, relaxing with a pair of socks, nothing too large because otherwise it gets in the way, it's too warm. And yeah, I'll be heading back to full-time normal working next week. We'll be adding our new Happy Birthday Hogwarts yarn clubs in there, along with our monthly mini clubs, and just keeping the creative flow going. I hope that you have all enjoyed a little bit of knitting chat and a tasty drink, snuggling up, cozying up, just taking some time for yourself to hang out a little bit, and I will see you all another time.